Hello everyone, I'm Lucy Fanger, CEO of On Technology Partners, and I'm proud to be sponsoring our new program, Women STaRs. In each episode, we will spotlight an amazing woman and the struggles and triumphs that she has faced. Then we will reflect and share her insights. Our goal is to engage, entertain, and explore the women STaRs in our world today. I hope you enjoy.
I want to thank you all for listening today. My name is Shanti Harkness, and I'm the Media Manager for On Technology Partners, a woman-owned company addressing cybersecurity and risk. Join us as we share the reflections of women just like you that have survived struggles and embraced triumphs in their lives. Today, we'll be talking with Regan Phillips. Regan is employed with the City of Elyria as an executive administrator for the council's clerk's office, as well as a loving mother to Angel and a committed wife to her husband, Steve. She's also a double cancer survivor, giving glory to God for her healing. She's committed to being the change she wishes to see in the world. What she knows for certain is summed up in a quote from Mahatma Gandhi: "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." And she has made it her mission to be a humble servant leader. As an emergent leader, Regan has partnered with local schools and community and civic organizations throughout Lorain County, serving on local boards in various capacities, to include President of Lorain County Section NCNW, National Council of Negro Women, NAACP Second Vice President, Mental Health Addiction and Recovery Services Board, Community Foundation of Lorain County African American Community Fund President, Leadership Lorain County Board, Elyria Kiwanis Board, and the Urban League Guild. In giving of her service, she has gained invaluable life lessons and experiences. Regan, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Shanti.
So before we begin, why don't you tell us something that others may not know about you or something exciting about yourself?
So one thing that others don't know about me is that I am an undercover master chef.
Ooh.
I love to get in my kitchen, and it is the best therapy. And I will look up a recipe or follow a video recipe and just make the best meal ever.
That sounds like the total opposite of me. I try to avoid the kitchen.
I love it in my kitchen.
Don't get me wrong.
Do you eat out? Do you eat out a lot?
No, I don't eat very healthily and very basic.
I understand.
But yeah, so that's funny. But that's great.
I understand
that you have that resource and enjoy that so much. So let's dive right in. We know that triumphs don't come without their struggles. So tell us a little bit about what some of your biggest struggles have been. This can be either professionally or personally, and how you were able to get through them and what kind of an impact they had on your life or career.
Sure. I would say that my biggest struggle has been, it was a personal struggle that definitely led to a professional struggle. At the height of my career, 12 years ago, I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 4. And the struggle to fight to live was certainly a struggle. I was scheduled initially for 6 rounds of chemo. I had to do 8. That whole struggle of cancer and chemo. And one of the things that I tell people in my journey through cancer is that you just don't know the dynamics of the disease. You don't know the dynamics of recovery and all the things that you have to go through. And there was a time when I had to go to an appointment, and my mom was at the appointment with me. And every time I would see my caregivers, and they would always embrace me and say, "Oh, Regan's here today. Regan's here today. It's so good to see you. It's so good to see you." And my mom was so appreciative of their embrace. And she would say, "I just love how you guys embrace Regan. It's so nice that you're so warm and welcoming of her." And the girl responded, one of my caregivers responded, "You know, it's really nice to see names on that are not on the expired list." And just the thought and idea of an expired list was just like, that's something that exists. So when I think of the hope that is needed, the hope that is necessary, that whole journey. There were days where, people on our cancer unit, on our chemo unit, had an allergic reaction to their chemo drugs and, didn't make it through the journey. All sorts of things happened. And so every day I had to tell myself, I'm going to live and not die. I am going to fight this fight. I'm going to do everything I'm told to do. I'm going to eat everything I'm supposed to eat. I'm going to not eat what I'm not supposed to eat. I'm just whatever it's going to take for me to make it through this journey. And so that personally was my biggest triumph, but professionally, it led to what kind of things I'm going to do now that will be different for me, because now I have to reinvent myself. I know that I'm not going to do the same job. It took quite a long time for me to heal. It took a long time for me to reenter the workforce. And so I had to totally reinvent myself and decide, where do I go from here?
Wow. Very, very inspiring, and just that will to live, and
absolutely,
just that determination to not be on that expired list, which you're right, just the thought of that is heartbreaking.
Heart-wrenching. It's like you would not think that that's something that exists.
Wow. So did you have any tips or tricks or anything that you used to help you get through those challenging times that you were facing?
Absolutely. I had to have some positive self-talk and a faith walk that was like none other. My primary care doctor was amazing through my journey. And I think that he was amazing, but he tells me that I was amazing through the journey. And even now when I see him, he's just like, I just don't, he looks at me and it's always in like kind of an unbelief look. And he just says, I know that it was your faith that brought you through. Like, I know that it was your faith that brought you through. And so I tell people all the time that there's something about the way that we talk to ourselves. There's something about the things that we say to ourselves, and you have to believe the things that you say. So there is a I am ellipsis, and it is whatever you say after I am. And so you have to believe that you are strong. You have to believe that you are healed. You have to believe that you will be restored. There's so many things that you have to believe. And it's that belief that I believe will heal you. And so the self-talk has to be positive. The self-talk has to be believable. The self-talk has to be something that you say every single day. And there were days when I couldn't lift my head up, but on the days when I could lift my head up, I would just get up and just walk circles around my little ottoman in my basement and just tell myself, you know what? I'm going to make it through this journey. I absolutely have to. I believe it, and I am. I am ellipsis.
I love it. And I like that you mentioned, how crucial it was to have that faith. And I think that's a wonderful reminder for all of our listeners, regardless of what your faith is, to really tap into that and to embrace the power that is found in your faith. And the self-talk for sure is absolutely essential as well. So I love that you shared that. Thank you. So let's take a moment now and focus on your biggest triumphs. Can you share what those were and what made them so great for you?
So I share this with a lot of people. So you know how when you were a little kid and you're like on the playground and there's always that one kid they could be the bully, or they could be the kid that is always kind of a little bit more mischievous than other children. I was always that kid that said, don't do that. That's not nice. You shouldn't, you should stop that. And I found that I would always be the person to say, you should never do that. I didn't know what advocacy was when I was little, but I realized that advocacy has always been in my soul. And so I would have to say that my biggest triumph is in 2015, I was an award recipient for National Council of Negro Women for their annual Founders Day program. And I didn't know a whole lot about the organization at the time. However, the Ohio Council representative shared a 200-foot view of the program. And the mission was to lead, advocate, and empower women of color, girls in their communities and their families. And I'm like, I do that. I've always done that. Like, that's in my soul. And so in 2018, we sponsored a debutante cotillion for our community. And it was a re-embarking of a cotillion that we had in our community years and years ago. But it was something that people had talked about for years, that we should do this again. We should do this again. So that was truly my biggest triumph, that it was amazing. It brought back something in our community that was so needed. And then in 2020, I was voted president of the Lorraine section of National Council Negro Women. So I am honored to lead this section of women and to serve in our community in that capacity.
I love it. And I can definitely relate to that sense of advocacy and always, wanting to help and support and empower others. And I love that quote in your bio about, losing yourself in the service of others. That's one of my favorite quotes. And it's so true. There's so much to be gained in helping others and helping to uplift others. So I love that you shared that. So as you very well know, as women, we juggle rather, a multitude of different things. There's career and family, household responsibilities, illnesses and caregiving. How do you maintain a work-life balance? And what do you think that employers can do to be more supportive of that balance?
So in my prior career, I had a colleague, Shanti, and she would tell me just about every day, because we worked a lot of hours. So we worked like 80 plus hours a week. Okay. And we were always kind of over the top, and we're so dedicated. We're so dedicated. We're so dedicated. Okay. And so she would always say, Miss Regan, your health is your wealth. And I would say, okay, thank you, babe. And she would say, no, Miss Regan, really, your health is your wealth. And I would say, okay, thank you, honey. And she would say, Miss Regan, your health is your wealth. And I have to tell you, I learned firsthand, your health is your wealth. And what I've learned, and I will tell anyone, take time to recognize work-life balance. Work is work and home is home. And when you clock out, stay clocked out. And even though now we have our smartphones and our emails are on our phones and all of the things that make the boundaries, cross, stick to boundaries. And when you're off, be off. And when you're at work, work. Give it 100%, diligent, have the best work ethic that you can have. But when you are off work and it's family time, have family time and don't be on the clock. Because honestly, everything can wait. Nothing is so vital that you have to respond to it at that moment. I've given myself a 24-hour rule. I'll respond to everything within 24 hours. And that is because your health is your wealth.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And, I had to face certain health challenges as well. And I realized, working crazy hours isn't helping me. It's not healthy for me. And, my employer at the time wasn't concerned about my health. It was more,
about
what you're producing. Yeah. Your productivity. And, so I had to make that decision that, well, if I'm not healthy, I'm not going to be productive. So I need to take care of my health. And if that means that I need to cut back on hours temporarily, then that's what it's going to take, because it's not worth, long-term damage to my health to continue to push myself in this job when you don't care about me to begin with.
I just told a colleague the other day, I said, if anything were to happen to any of us, at any given time. Before we made it to the parking lot, we'd be replaced.
Mm.
So honestly, at the end of the day, your health is your wealth. You have to be really smart about, I'm going to give 110%. A lot of times I'll give 125%. I'm going to do everything that I'm supposed to do. My tasks are complete. I'll follow up on everything that I'm supposed to follow up on. Make sure that I have attention to detail. So all of the things that you do to sell yourself in an interview, I follow through with all of those things. I'm committed. I make sure that all of my I's are dotted at all times. All of my T's are crossed. I make sure that I don't have errors in my work, all of the things that are important. So at the end of the day, when it's time to go, work is complete. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that has to be followed up on after hours. And there's nothing after hours that can't wait until the next day. And I think that more people have to recognize that, and more employers have to respect that. Because if it's not fatal or final, it's fruitful for the next day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's even more challenging for a lot of employees and employers now that so many more people are working remotely to really stick with those boundaries. But like you said, it's very important to stick with them. And, you know, in 99% of cases, it can wait until tomorrow. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So Regan, as a woman, how would you define success for yourself? And do you have any tips or habits that help you to be successful or to feel successful?
I honestly, Shanti, personally, I really believe that success is individual. And when I say individual, I'm not really big on success and comparisons. I just really think that when we think about how do you define success and what do you think of success, it leads to so many comparisons. And when we get into comparisons, then it just robs people of their joy and of their peace. Because if you just think about, are you happy? Are you happy with where you are right now? Do you feel content with where you are right now? Then that's your level of success. If you feel that you've accomplished the things that you set out to accomplish, then that should be your level of success individually. We start comparing ourselves, and then we get fearful, and then we lose our courage to do whatever things that we want to do. But if you feel like you've accomplished the things that you want to accomplish and you are in a good place where you want to be, then that should be your level of success. One thing that I do share with my mentees is set out to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish only. Put on your blinders, because the horse wins the race by not looking from side to side, just straight ahead. And if you feel like you are happy and content with where you are, then you've made it to your level of success.
I love it.
Without the comparison.
I love it. I think for a lot of people, it's easy to get caught up in one-upping somebody else and that comparison. Mm-hmm. But really, when you boil it all down, everybody just wants to be happy. That's why we seek out and search for the things that we do, because we want to be happy. So I love that you mentioned, at the end of the day, are you happy? Are you content? So now let's take a moment, and if you would reflect on something that you wish you would have known sooner in life and share that with us.
You want to know what I wish I had known?
Yes.
I wish I had known very, very early on that it's okay to be okay, that I didn't need the S on my chest, that vulnerability was better and being at peace was better than not being able to say I'm okay. Because what I found is it's okay to be okay. Like there's some days where I'm just okay. And I've gotten to the point where if someone says, how you doing? I'm like, I'm all right. It's just one of them days and I'm okay. Opposed to, I'm okay. When you know you're not.
Mm-hmm.
When you know you are not okay. Just be authentic. And on the days when you're not okay, it's okay to not be okay. But because, again, we have this whole facade and we feel like we have to always be a ray of sunshine. And we always have to put on the, you know what, some days you're just not.
Mm-hmm.
And so I lost my brother a few years back to the whole heroin epidemic. And for the longest time, I was not okay. Some days I'm still not okay. And on those days, there's no sunshine. And honestly, Shanti, if I do group work, and a lot of times when I'm doing group work, I have everybody go around and they have to do the adjective to describe themselves. And I'm always radiant Regan. There's some days where I'm not radiant.
Mm-hmm.
There's just some days where it's like, you know what? The sun is not shining today. I'm just okay. And if I had to, tell anyone, if there's anything at all, just be authentic, just be who you are. The sun comes and so does the rain. And there's some days where you're just not okay. The sun will shine again, but it's okay to not be okay.
I love it. And I completely agree. I actually wrote a blog article a couple months back, and the title of it was "It's Okay to Not Be Okay."
Oh,
So
wow. Is it on this podcast? Is it on the...
It's not. No. I believe it was on the company's called HSolve. So if you go to
Wow.
h-solve.com, there's a blog article on there called "It's Okay to Not Be Okay."
I love it.
But yeah, so and I love that you shared that, and it's true, and it's a great reminder to all of us that we don't have to have we don't have to put on that perfect facade, because it's not true, it's not accurate, it's not authentic, and really just be honest. Some days you're not okay, and that's okay. And
exactly.
And that it also helps to empower other people to be authentic with themselves also.
With themselves. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And to just reassure them that it's okay. We all go through it.
Yep.
We're all dealing with different things, different struggles, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's the human side of living. Like, we're all human. And I think that if people work on just recognizing humanity overall, then we'll be in a better place, because nobody has to feel like they have to not be authentic or not be real with themselves first. Because if you're real with yourselves, then you don't even really care about what others think of anything, really.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
So, Regan, what advice would you give to young women that are just beginning their careers, or even to women that are in the process or thinking about changing careers?
Well, for young people beginning, I just really wish they would learn fundamental and transferable skills, would be my advice for younger women. I know a lot of times I've had the experience with young people that they always want the end result without the process. And I think that recognizing that sometimes you just have to understand the process for certain things, but along the way, if you have a transferable skill or if you have fundamental skills, it will help you build as you move along the way. So that would be my advice for younger people.
Let me just interrupt you right there. Can you elaborate on what you think some of those fundamental skills should be?
So I think what I've seen in my career is a lot of times we'll look for young people that we're looking for administrative assistants. And even though people are on their smartphones a lot, they may not actually know how to type, or they may not have MS Word experience, or I'm not sure what the schools are teaching these days sometimes, but do they actually understand keyboarding? I don't think they do keyboarding anymore, but whatever the computer skills are. So some skills or soft skills, like I don't know what's happening anymore with customer service, but the level of...
Yeah.
So along that line,
it's struggling there, I think.
So definitely an understanding of just basic, computer, customer service, basic office setting skills. Like I've had young people where, just understanding how to read a newspaper or just basic, like, I don't know if they're just not teaching these things anymore, but just back to the basics with some basic transferable skills.
Excellent.
So I don't know.
It's
were
needed.
laughing. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do. I've recently had to conduct some interviews for some positions, and even some
down
of these
to writing, Shanti. I mean, writing has gone by the wayside, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, technology is great, but there are definitely some downsides to certain technologies.
Mm-hmm.
So, Regan, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, how would they get in touch with you?
I am reachable on all of the social media sites. So I'm on Instagram as Hopeful Girl Regan. I'm on Facebook, but also I'm on LinkedIn, but also my email is ncnw pres PRESLC@gmail.com. And my phone number is published. It's 440-452-8690.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Are there any other parting words of wisdom or closing thoughts that you would like to share?
I just want to thank you so much, Shanti, for having me. I think that this podcast is absolutely amazing. And I just think that women rock all around. And so in closing, I just think that, women make our world better. And it's up to all of us as women to uplift each other, to empower each other, and to do it in a way that is authentic and from an honest place of not having insecurities, not having, I don't really want to use the word jealousies, but I think that it's honest to say that, not coming from a place of not being true to who we are as women, but really understanding that the strength of a woman is to uplift another woman in a place of, how can I help you? What can I do for you? How can I help you to be successful? Or how can I help you get to your next best place in a way that is really authentic and really wanting to help that next person, that next woman or that next girl really achieve the things that she's looking to achieve without being self-serving, without wanting anything from anyone, but really being from a place of, you know what? She's a woman just like I am. And all I want to do is see what I can do to help her get to her next best self. That's all.
I love it. Excellent parting words of wisdom. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Regan. It's been an absolute privilege speaking with you. Thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you.
On Technology Partners wants to thank you for joining us on this episode of Women STaRs. If you'd like to appear on a future podcast episode, or if you'd like to nominate a businesswoman to be interviewed for Women STaRs, please email stars@ontechpartners.com. My name is Shanti Harkness. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you for joining us on today's journey. Remember, you are all women stars. If you wish to learn more about our Women STaRs program or want to be a guest on our show, contact us at stars@ontechpartners.com. And thank you to On Technology Partners for helping me make this program a reality. Remember, we at On Technology Partners want to help you protect your team from hackers. To learn more about our cybersecurity services, go to ontechnologypartners.com.